Hello everybody, I am Karryshh and this is another Japanese horror recap. Today I have brought you a horror that came out in 2022. It was released on Netflix and I enjoyed it. Fun to watch with friends or even a date, but not creepy enough to have the actual crown of Japanese horror. The movie is Karada Sagashi, or in English they say, Remember Member. The story is about a group of students who find themselves stuck in a supernatural game where they must find body parts of a little girl. The catch is that the girl is also haunting them and actively unaliving them in most brutal ways. I'd say you can watch it, it's not disappointing. You're watching Demonic Archives and if you're new, subscribe, like and share. Follow me on Instagram where I reply personally. There's nothing else left to say, so I'm gonna start with this recap now. Well, this movie begins with a horrifying murder. We see a girl running with a doll, trying to hide inside a house, but a man with an axe is chasing her. He breaks through the window, finds her and brutally chops her body into pieces. Then we learn about some strange missing people, and everything seems to point toward a mysterious game called Body Search. It's a creepy game where people get trapped in a loop. The same day keeps repeating until they find a missing body. From the looks of it, it feels like this game originated from Russia. Now the scene shifts to a girl named Asuka who wakes up on the morning of July 5th. We find out she doesn't have any friends. No one at school talks to her. We also meet some other students. Rei, she's the class monitor. Takahiro, Rumiko and Shota. They're all classmates but they don't actually know each other well. Now on the way to school, a cat gets hit by a truck and dies. We also see that Asuka has a crush on Takahiro, but he doesn't even notice her. In class, Shota, he's another loner and he gets blamed for stealing money. Today, Rei is supposed to choose the festival committee members, but she decides to postpone it until tomorrow. Later at lunch, Asuka goes to eat in a quiet place near an old well behind the school. Then suddenly, bloody hands start reaching out from inside the well. She freaks out. But some construction workers show up and everything instantly disappears like nothing happened. Terrified, Asuka runs away. Soon she finds the library teacher burying the dead cat. And then suddenly a pot falls and breaks out of nowhere. Not only that, but a spirit of a girl whispers to Asuka, asking her to find her body. Then that night, Asuka gets a message from an unknown number. It was a warning, and the person was saying that Asuka should stay away from the red person, because if they will catch you, you will die. This scares her and she instantly goes to bed, but when the clock hits midnight, she suddenly wakes up inside the school chapel. Not only her, but so do Takahiro, Rei, Rumiko and Shota. They all somehow ended up there. There's also another student with them, Atsushi. He was a classmate who never comes to school. You see, all of these students have seen that little girl earlier that day. And somehow they're here together in this game that's about to begin. Now that little girl wants them to find her body parts, but Atsushi refuses and heads home. On his way out, something grabs him and everyone hears his scream. When they rush to check on him, they're in shock. His body is literally torn in half. Whatever killed him now attacks Rumiko and tears her apart as well. The rest panic and try to escape, but all the exits were blocked. They were trapped inside the school and something is hunting them. They hide near the shoe rack, but the entity comes there, grabs Shota and unalive him brutally. Takahiro tries to protect Asuka, and as they were running near the stairs, the entity ended up catching Rei as well. In the last, Asuka and Takahiro hides in the nursing room. He tells her to hide under the bed. The monster soon breaks in, completely covered in blood, and unalive Takahiro in the most brutal way. Then it starts violently jumping on the bed. The only one left alive now is Asuka, but the monster grabs her as well, and we finally see what it is. You see, it's the demonic spirit of the girl who was murdered at the beginning of the movie. But because she was drenched in blood, she is called the Red Person. Now the Red Person shoves her bloody hand down Asuka's throat and unalive her. Now here something crazy happens. As Asuka dies, she wakes up again and it's July 5th in the morning. Asuka's mother packs the exact same lunch. The cat dies on the road again. Shota gets accused again. Everything is repeating. That's why Asuka realizes that wasn't a dream at all. The others realize it as well. They meet in the hallway and Shota explains that they're trapped in the body search. It's a game that originally came from Russia. They must find the missing girl's remains, or until then, July 5th will keep looping and looping over and over again. The library teacher overhears them talking and he seems kind of weird, but they ignore it for now. Now since they already know what's gonna happen today, they try using that to their advantage. This becomes the reason how Rumiko finds out that her boyfriend was actually cheating on her. This news breaks her from inside even more. Anyway, once again when the night hits, all 6 of them end up back in the school chapel. This time they realize that the coffin there has an empty spot inside and that's where the body parts must go. Now just like before, Atsushi refuses to join the game, but the others head out to search for the remains. Asuka tries to stick with Rumiko and Rei, but they leave her behind. She then keeps looking around and ends up in the classroom where Takahiro shows up and turns on the lights. The two of them continue the body search together. They eventually find a hand inside a dark room kept in a fish tank. But right then, the Red Person appears. Asuka grabs the hand and they hide. When the Red Person comes into the room, Takahiro tries to fight her off so Asuka can escape and place the hand inside the coffin. Asuka ran away, but at the end of their fight, the Red Person suddenly walks backward like a creepy contortionist and brutally unalive Takahiro. Once again, the killing spree begins. Shota hides inside a locker, but the Red Person pushes the locker down the stairs. When Shota climbs out, she unalives him again. Meanwhile, Rei and Rumiko are running when they cross paths with Asuka, but the Red Person was right behind her. Rumiko and Rei panic and they enter a place which was closed by a shutter. They draw the shutter down, but Rei pushes Asuka to run faster. In the end, Asuka barely slips under the shutter before it closes. Asuka still has that disgusting severed hand and everyone is staring at it, but the Red Person suddenly lifts the shutter anyway and grabs Rumiko. Asuka tries to help, but the Red Person was too strong. She drags both Asuka and Rumiko and brutally unalives them. There was blood everywhere. The Red Person then breaks through the shutter and goes after Rei as well. Rei rushes to the chapel and places the severed hand inside the coffin just in time, but she was unalived almost instantly. The next morning, July 5th restarts again and Asuka wakes up. Today, Asuka rushes outside to save the cat this time. And surprisingly, the others show up as well, all trying to save it. They are all happy. They talk to each other and feel relieved, knowing the hand is already placed inside the coffin. They also stop Shota from being falsely accused of stealing. And they all eat lunch together. For the first time, they're actually becoming friends despite being so different. Now it jumps to nighttime again. The Red Person is hunting the 3 girls. They hide underwater in the school pool, holding their breaths until she leaves. They think they're safe, but the Red Person was too clever. Suddenly, she grabs Rei and Rumiko underwater and unalives them both. Asuka tries to escape, but she gets caught as well. Now, while being dragged underwater, she notices the Red Person's doll sinking upside down in the pool. This doll is something to remember, by the way. After they revive again the next morning, they all meet in the library. This time, Takahiro reveals Atsushi's backstory. You see, he used to be an athlete, but after an accident, he lost his sports scholarship. He became depressed and stopped coming to school. That is why he's always alone. Then Shota shares more from his research. He has found out about a murder that happened 30 years ago near their school. An 8-year-old girl named Miko was unalived and her body was chopped into pieces. Her head was never found, and they finally understand the red person is Miko's vengeful spirit. Now that's when the library teacher appears again. He acts very strange and secretly listens to them. Then after he leaves, Shota takes out a map of the school so they can mark every place they have already searched, and from here on, the real body search begins. At midnight, they turn on every light in the school and blast loud music so the red person won't easily find them. Shota monitors the hallway through security cameras. Takahiro distracts the red person. The three girls look for the body parts, and meanwhile Atsushi just lies on the rooftop doing absolutely nothing. Night after night they follow the plan, and every night they die horribly in different ways. But they keep finding the girls remain one by one until only one leg was remaining and the head was still missing. All this time, the library teacher has been secretly watching them closely. And then finally one night, Shota finds that last leg. Meanwhile, Atsushi was still on the roof. But he finally feels like that maybe he should actually help. Back to body search, Shota just died and Takahiro was the only one remaining with that last leg. However, he was injured badly and he couldn't move. The red person was soon going to kill him, but at the last second, Atsushi shows up. He grabs the leg and places it inside the coffin. It was a way of showing that Atsushi has now overcome his depression and he will become friends with the group. But actually this guy gets on my nerve. Why wasn't he helping from the beginning? And now that he decides to help, he just gets to become friends with everyone like nothing happened. That was unacceptable for me. Now when the loop restarts again, the 6 students decide to go to the beach and have some fun, since they only have one part left to find. While talking, Takahiro realizes why the spirit chose them specifically. You see, she preys on lonely kids. These 6 students were the most isolated and miserable, but now they have become real friends, and it's one of their greatest strengths now. They also have searched the entire school, and the head was still nowhere. That's why today they go to the old house where Miko was murdered. Inside they learn that the doll's name was Emily. Miko loved that doll more than anything, and that inside a weird wall, they actually find Emily. But in an instant, the doll disappears. The kids freak out and ran away. And you see, this scene doesn't directly connect us with the actual story of this movie, which is why I think that this Emily doll is actually the carrier of this curse. We also know that this curse originated from Russia, but we don't know how it got to Japan from Russia. And my guess is that this doll is actual carrier of that curse. Maybe when Miko was little, she got the doll, her family was cursed, and her father ended up unaliving her. But that's just my theory. Let me know yours in the comment box. Now that night, they do another full body search, and once again, there was no head. But something weird happens today. The red person is nowhere to be found. Then suddenly in the chapel, the red person appears, but now she gets fused with Emily, transforming into a terrifying demonic monster. Everyone runs for their lives. Atsushi and Rumiko get crushed when things in the chapel fall on them. The monster continues the chase. It kills Shota inside the locker room by crushing him between 2 shoe racks. The remaining 3 manage to barricade themselves inside a classroom with torches. But even that doesn't stop the monster. It breaks down the door and grabs Takahiro. Takahiro shoves the torch right into the monster's mouth, and the monster throws him across the room and unalive him brutally. It then grabs Rei, and instead of just killing her, it literally eats her alive. Asuka was terrified watching all this happen. She tries to run, but the monster cuts her off. Scared out of her mind, Asuka ends up jumping from the 4th floor, and she wakes up again in the morning of July 5th. She races outside to save the cat again, but this time the cat wasn't even there. The cat was already crushed by the truck anyway. Even worse, Ray has completely vanished from the school. A different girl is now class monitor. No one remembers Ray at all. She has been erased from existence. The 5 remaining kids quickly meet up. Asuka explains that the monster ate Ray, meaning if the monster eats them, they won't just die, they will disappear forever. That's why they must find the head before they get killed again. Asuka goes to the library teacher, who is burying the dead cat once again. She asks him about the body search, and this time she catches the falling pot before it hits the floor, proving that she knows what's coming. The teacher here finally admits that he might have played body search himself. But he doesn't remember anything, cause when the game ends, everything resets. Meaning, once they will finish the mission, they will forget everything. Even their friendship, their lives will go back to normal like nothing happened. Not only this, if they win this game, everyone return, including those who will get eaten. Now the entire day, Asuka worries about this, cause she doesn't want to forget her friends. In the evening, she tells Takahiro everything she learned. There he promises her that even if he forgets her, he will still find her somehow. He gives her his lucky pin as a promise and they share a kiss. That night, Asuka reveals her theory. The missing head is actually inside that monster's head. You see, when the doll Emily was sinking in the pool during an earlier scene, where she was sinking with her head first, meaning her head was heavy, which is weird cause she's made of cotton. That's why Asuka now thinks the head is definitely inside the monster's head. They must decapitate the monster to end this game, or else they all will be erased forever. Now to catch this monster, they set a trap inside a room. Then they wait, and soon the monster arrives. But instead of breaking the door, it smashes through the ceiling and attacks them from behind. In mere seconds, it kills almost everyone again and grabs Rumiko. Shota saves her by smashing the monster with something heavy, but then the monster catches Shota and eats him alive. The rest of them now run and somehow manage to pin the monster against a pole and hold it with a drill machine. Atsushi, Asuka and Rumiko try to chain it down, but it was insanely strong. The boys struggle to lock the chains and the monster breaks free from the drill. The girls rush to stop it, but in that hassle, Rumiko gets unalived. The monster eats her as well. In the end, the boys get the chains somehow locked. They turn on a motor to tighten the chains so the monster couldn't move, and it starts working. The monster was finally trapped, but then the monster cuts the power cable and escapes once again. Now as soon as Asuka reconnects the wires, the monster turned and eats Atsushi right in front of her. Seeing his friend die again, Takahiro gets furious. He grabs a chainsaw and decapitates the monster's head finally. And it turns out Asuka was right, cause from inside the monster, the girl's missing head finally falls out. Now Asuka and Takahiro just have to put the head into the coffin inside the chapel. But as they reach the chapel, the monster returns. Takahiro tries to stop it and purposely collapses a ton of heavy stuff on top of both himself and the monster. He gets badly hurt and tells Asuka to hurry up and finish this game. But right then, the monster grabs Takahiro and eats him in front of Asuka. Seeing this horror, Asuka tries to run. The monster blocks her path, but it was much weaker now, and Asuka becomes full of rage. In the end, she beats the monster with a stick, and finally, a giant cross falls from the ceiling and crushes the monster for good. Asuka now rushes to the coffin and places the head inside, finally completing this game. She then faints right beside the coffin, and the next morning when she wakes up, the date is July 6th. They won. But just like the library teacher said, Asuka remembers nothing. She gets ready for school, sees a news report saying a girl's head was found inside school chapel, but she doesn't connect it to anything. At school, all 5 of her friends are alive again, and even Atsushi is back in class, but none of them recognize each other. Their memories are gone. Later, the class president hands out forms to pick members for the festival committee. Coincidentally, the members that are chosen for this committee are the 6 students from the game. Then after school during their committee meeting, Asuka accidentally drops the lucky pin. Takahiro picks it up and suddenly he remembers his promise. He gives her the pin and says that he told her that he will find her. Even though they don't remember everything completely, but they do remember their promise. In this scene, Asuka also remembers the promise, and just like that, their friendship returns. The movie ends on this happy note, and the 6 of them are together again. Now let's move to a really interesting end credit scene. It takes us in that well behind the school. We see a newspaper cutting that shows the news of Miko being unalived and dismembered in a vacation house, but suddenly the news changes. Miko turns into Asuka. Asuka becomes a girl who was unalived and dismembered in an amusement park when she was 8. I don't know what this means yet, but definitely there is a curse, an evil one. The good news is, Karada Sagashi is back with another part. The name is Karada Sagashi The Last Night. The movie isn't available yet. It's released only in Japan for now. But subscribe cause I will be bringing its recap before anybody else. Well, this was a recap of Karada Sagashi. I give this movie a solid 6.5 out of 10. I hope they lean more into the creepy side in the second part, but given the vibe of first movie, it's very unlikely. I hope you like this video. Please subscribe, like and share. It is free and it is something that helps me out a lot. You can follow me on Instagram where I'm taking my time to reply everyone. And for this channel's update, you can join Telegram. That's all on social media and that's all on Karada Sagashi. I thank you all for watching this video. Stay safe, stay happy and stay alert because they always see you.